Before she was Blu Blu, she was just a shadow, a nameless little soul drifting through the city's forgotten corners. She was a ghost to most, barely noticed by the people who hurried past, their eyes fixed on their own busy lives. She survived in a cold, hard world behind a noisy building, where the rumble of trucks and the clang of metal were her daily soundtrack. The concrete walls offered little comfort, and the ground was always cold beneath her paws. Each day blurred into the next, the sun rising and setting with little change. Time seemed to stand still, except for the growing ache of hunger and the endless search for a safe place to rest. Her thin fur was no match for the biting chill, and winter's wind cut through her like a knife. She shivered through long nights, curled up as small as she could, wishing for warmth that never came. She learned to be invisible, blending into the shadows and slipping away whenever footsteps approached. It was safer not to be seen, safer to disappear. Curling up tightly, she hoped nothing bad would find her. Every night she tucked her nose under her tail, trying to make herself as small as possible, as if she could vanish completely. Her heart fluttered like a frightened bird at every loud noise. She scavenged for scraps, her stomach never full, her body always on edge, ready to run at the slightest threat. Her world was full of barking, snarling dogs, each one a reminder that she was alone and unwelcome. The alleyways echoed with their voices, and she kept her distance, always wary. Blu Blu never fought back, she just retreated further into the shadows, wishing to disappear. She had forgotten kindness, and the memory of gentle hands was just a faded dream. Sometimes she watched children play from afar, their laughter floating through the air like music she could never join. She longed for a world where she belonged, but it always felt out of reach. She gazed longingly at families through windows, wishing for warmth and joy she couldn't reach. The glow of home life was a distant light, something she could only dream about. Fear kept her anchored to her lonely spot, a silent weight pressing her down. She was trapped by her own uncertainty, unable to trust the world outside her shadows. She watched the world from the edge, unable to cross the street to a better life. The cars and people rushing by seemed like an unbridgeable gap. One rainy afternoon, everything changed. The rain poured down in sheets, drenching the city and turning the alley into a river of cold water. Blu Blu shivered, colder than ever, her fur soaked and heavy. She pressed herself against the wall, desperate for shelter, but there was nowhere left to hide. Suddenly, two pairs of feet stopped in front of her hiding place. She held her breath, heart pounding, unsure if this was danger or something different. A gentle voice whispered, "Oh, you poor thing." The words were soft, carrying warmth she hadn't felt in so long. A careful hand reached out, not to hurt, but to offer warmth. The stranger moved slowly, patient and kind, letting Blu Blu decide if she was ready. For the first time, someone offered her a new beginning. The warmth of the towel and the gentle touch made her tremble, but this time, it was with hope. Even if she was too scared to believe it, hope had found her. In that moment, Blu Blu's lonely world began to change, one gentle gesture at a time. The feet belonged to Rachel and Peter, two gentle souls who had paused on the busy sidewalk, drawn by the sight of a trembling stray. In a world that often hurried past, they stopped, noticing what others overlooked. Their kind eyes saw past Blu Blu's matted fur and wary gaze, recognizing the fear and longing hidden beneath her rough exterior. They didn't see a nuisance but a life in need of compassion. Rachel's soft voice and Peter's gentle presence made no sudden moves. They approached slowly, careful not to startle her, letting her know she was safe in their company. They offered her a piece of chicken, warm and savory, a taste of kindness she'd never known. The aroma drifted through the air, mingling with the hope that maybe, just maybe, things could change. Fear held her back, memories of harsh words and shooing hands echoing in her mind, but hunger and hope nudged her forward, urging her to take a chance on these strangers. Blu Blu stretched her neck, bravely taking the chicken. The first bite was tentative, but the warmth of the food and the gentle encouragement in their voices gave her courage. Peter's soothing words wrapped around her like a warm blanket, his tone gentle and reassuring. He spoke softly, telling her she was a good girl, that she was safe now. Rachel gently wrapped her in a dry towel, warmth seeping into her bones. The towel was soft, and for the first time in a long while, Blu Blu felt comfort instead of cold. Too tired and cold to resist, Blu Blu let Peter lift her into his arms. She was exhausted, her body heavy with relief and uncertainty, but she didn't struggle. As they carried her away from the only home she'd known, the hard pavement and shadowy corners, she closed her eyes, surrendering to the unknown. She didn't know where she was going, but a fragile seed of trust began to sprout. For the first time she allowed herself to hope that kindness could last. For the first time she felt the possibility of safety. The soft blanket beneath her, the gentle hands around her, all whispered promises of a better life. The world outside her alley was unknown, but it didn't feel quite as frightening. Through the window she saw a world full of new sights and sounds, but now she faced it with hope. Rachel and Peter's kindness was a lifeline, a bridge from loneliness to belonging. Their gentle touch and patient smiles told her she mattered. Blu Blu was still scared, but she was no longer alone. She nestled close, feeling the steady heartbeat of her new friends, and let herself believe in second chances. The journey to a new life had begun. As the car rolled forward, Blu Blu gazed out the window, her heart pounding with anticipation and a flicker of excitement. Hope, once a distant dream, was now within reach. Each mile brought her closer to a future she never dared imagine, surrounded by people who truly cared. Blu Blu's story was changing. With every gentle touch and kind word, she was learning that love could be real, and that she was worthy of it. The car ride was a blur, a rush of unfamiliar sights and sounds streaming past the window. Blu Blu pressed her nose to the cool glass, watching the world change with every mile. She didn't know where she was going, but she could sense something different in the air, something gentle, something safe. The towel's warmth and the engine's steady hum calmed her, wrapping her in a cocoon of comfort. For the first time in a long while she let herself relax, feeling the gentle hands that held her close. Peter carried her through a doorway into a house that smelled of cinnamon, clean laundry, and something else: hope. The air was filled with the promise of new beginnings. Inside, sunlight spilled across the floors, warming soft rugs and cozy corners. Every space seemed to invite her to rest, to play, to simply be. Rachel and Peter gave her a gentle bath, their hands careful and kind as they washed away the dust and fear. Beneath the suds her blue-gray fur gleamed soft and clean. "We'll call her Blu Blu," Rachel whispered, her voice full of affection. The name felt like a promise, and Blu Blu's ears perked up as if she understood she finally belonged. Blu Blu had her own bed, a soft, round cushion tucked into a quiet corner just for her. It was more than a place to sleep, it was a sign she was wanted. That first night she circled her new bed, sniffing every inch, unsure if it was truly hers. But finally, she curled up, letting her body sink into the softness, and slept more deeply than she had in ages. Each morning, sunlight painted her fur gold. Her days slowly shifted from gray and lonely to golden and bright, filled with gentle voices and laughter. She had a bowl always filled with food, never empty, never out of reach. The simple act of eating became a comfort, a daily reminder that she was cared for. In the afternoons, she'd find a sunny spot by the window to watch birds flutter and sing, her eyes wide with wonder at this peaceful new world. Rachel and Peter were endlessly patient, teaching her that hands could mean gentle pats and soft scratches, not fear or pain. Slowly, she learned to trust their touch. They introduced her to toys, colorful balls, squeaky animals, and soft ropes, each one a new adventure waiting to be discovered. At first, she was shy, but soon curiosity won. She found the courage to play, pouncing and chasing, her spirit growing lighter with every wag and leap. The little bird in her heart, once silent, began to sing again. Joy sparkled in her eyes, and hope fluttered in her chest. She greeted Rachel and Peter with a hopeful wag of her tail, her happiness impossible to hide. She followed them from room to room, eager to be near, no longer wishing to disappear into the background. Trust and love grew with every passing day, and the memories of the cold alley faded into the past, replaced by warmth and belonging. Blu Blu was finally home. Her heart was healing, and her forever family was by her side. A year later, Rachel and Peter brought home a surprise: King, a big golden retriever with endless energy. King was loud, clumsy, and full of joy, a walking ball of sunshine. He spotted Blu Blu in her sunny spot and was instantly smitten. He trotted over, tail wagging, and gave a friendly woof. Blu Blu, overwhelmed by his energy, stiffened in alarm. His happy greeting sounded like an explosion to her. She growled quietly, old fears resurfacing. King, confused but hopeful, offered her his favorite tennis ball. Blu Blu ignored the gift and retreated to her bed. King stood alone, not understanding her rejection. The house felt divided, her quiet world disrupted by his exuberance. King's heart was big, but Blu Blu's walls were high. Their first meeting was not the friendship King had hoped for. Blu Blu clung to her solitude. King was left longing for a friend. King refused to give up on Blu Blu. Every morning, he brought his favorite squeaky toy to her bed, leaving it as a silent offering. He'd lie nearby, tail thumping, watching her with hopeful eyes. Blu Blu ignored him, walking away without a glance. King tried other ways, sharing sunbeams rolling on his back, showing his belly and trust. He wanted her to see he meant no harm, just friendship. Blu Blu remained indifferent, her gaze cool and distant. King's daily rituals of hope met quiet rejection. He brought her sticks, wagged his tail, even tried sharing his water bowl. Each attempt was met with silence. King's heart grew heavy, but his spirit stayed strong. He longed for a friend, but Blu Blu kept her distance. The one friend he wanted most seemed unreachable. Still, King hoped. Blu Blu's coldness was a wall built from years of fear. It had kept her safe on the streets, and even now she clung to it. King's energy reminded her of chaos she'd escaped. Rachel and Peter watched with concern, understanding Blu Blu's caution. They knew trust couldn't be forced. King's sadness grew, his tail wagging less, his sighs echoing through the house. Rachel and Peter wanted their dogs to find comfort in each other. They couldn't scold Blu Blu or ask King to give up. Patience and care were needed. They hoped to help Blu Blu see King as a friend, not a threat. It was a challenge, but they were determined. Their family's happiness depended on it. Rachel and Peter created positive moments for both dogs. Treat time became a shared event. Blu Blu and King received treats together. At first, Blu Blu was wary, but she noticed King was just happy, not threatening. Walks became joint adventures, with both dogs exploring side by side. Blu Blu began to relax, associating King with good things. Evenings were spent together, Peter petting both dogs, bridging the gap. Blu Blu learned she could be near King without fear. Shared affection wore down her defenses. Slowly the wall around her heart crumbled. She saw King's patience and kindness. His happiness became less threatening, more inviting. The bridge of kindness was working. Two worlds were connecting. The breakthrough came on a stormy afternoon. Thunder startled Blu Blu, sending her trembling. Before anyone else could comfort her, King quietly lay beside her. He didn't bark or jump, just offered his presence. Blu Blu felt comforted, not threatened. She looked into King's kind eyes and leaned against him. The trembling faded, replaced by safety. Their friendship was born in that quiet moment. From then on, Blu Blu sought King's company. She followed him into the garden, watched him play, and even nudged his squeaky toy. They napped together, a patchwork of blue, gray, and gold. The house became their shared space. King's joy pulled Blu Blu out of her shell. Blu Blu's calm soothed King. They became inseparable, greeting Rachel and Peter together. Their friendship blossomed, a testament to patience and love. The sight of them side by side brought endless joy. Two hearts had found each other. The house was now filled with the happiness of two best friends. King's playful barks and Blu Blu's happy yips echoed together. Rachel and Peter had created a family, witnessing a small miracle. They remembered Blu Blu's fear and King's confusion, now replaced by joy. The dogs taught them that love takes patience and kindness. Blu Blu found safety and a devoted friend. King learned gentle persistence. Together they were complete, their bond a beautiful song of companionship. Their story was about second chances and the resilience of the heart. Sometimes the greatest love stories are about quiet friendship. Blu Blu and King found their forever home, not just with Rachel and Peter, but with each other. Their journey was a lesson in hope. Everything was finally okay.